Got it out the mud, they call my hands red, but that's because they covered in the blood of my enemies. They sucking up my energy enough, yeah, this gun light, but it's gonna heavily erupt. I'm a God's child, but my bank like a Rothschild. They see the balance, probably wonder why I'm hostile. They hear the verse and can't believe it, it's a freestyle. I free myself from selling powder grins and weed piles. I don't cease fire, I shoot until they retire. Raise the bar again and make them reach high. I son a rapper every time I let a beat.
Take two and action. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I'm Jake. If you're not new here, I'm Jake. Today I've got my brother's Jeep, my older brother Austin. He's the one holding the camera right now. We're gonna get him to kind of go around and do a walk around of his Jeep, but I'm gonna grab the camera from Austin right now and let him kind of take you around and show you what he's got done to his Jeep and do all the explaining. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Hey everybody, like Jake said, my name's Austin. This is my 2015 Jeep JKU Sahara. I got it brand new back in 2015 and just want to run through some of the upgrades I've done since then. Starting up front, I've got the Genrite aluminum front stinger, running the worn 10S winch with the Factor 55 Ultra hook. And then I've got the HID projector Chroma series headlights. As far as underneath the vehicle, I've got the Curry Rock Jock 44 front axle. Got it as a package from Northridge. It's got the 488 gearing, Eaton E-locker, RCV axle shafts, and the Synergy ball joints. Also, I've got the TerraFlex upgraded tie rod, drag link, and track bar. Also running Tom Woods 1350 drive shafts, front and rear. We move around to the side here. I've got, as far as suspension goes, I've got a 4-inch kit, mainly TerraFlex. I've got the Falcon shocks, also the TerraFlex Alpine adjustable short arms, and the Curry aluminum anti-rocks front and rear. As far as wheels and tires go, I've got KMC Mesa wheels. They are not bead locks. Eventually I'd like to upgrade to 1-ton axles. With that comes the 8-lug pattern. So didn't want to spend the money for the bead locks just yet, but hopefully eventually I'll get to that point. But the wheels are 17x9. I'm also running the Mickey Thompson Baja Boss 37-inch tires. And then moving on to the armor, I've got Genrite pretty much all the way around. Running the narrow front and rear fenders, aluminum. Also have the Genrite aluminum rock sliders and rash guards. Moving around to the back, also have the Genrite spare tire carrier, swing out so it mounts to the body of the Jeep, the quarter panel on the passenger side, and then driver side obviously has the pins to lock it in place. I've also got the Smittybilt XRC Gen 2 rear bumper. This is probably the oldest thing on the Jeep right now, but it's held up pretty well. I've had a car rear end me, and this is the same bumper from that. So overall, pretty good. In the rear, I've got a factory Dana 44 rear axle. I do have it re-geared to match the front, so it's the 488 gears, but it's an open differential, so no lockers in the rear at this point. One thing that you can't see from the Jeep where it's at now, I did swap out the transfer case, so I've got the Rubicon transfer case with the lower gear ratio. My Jeep is a manual transmission. It's the 6-speed, so that low gearing really helps out with crawling, helps prevent it from stalling out on a little more difficult obstacles. As far as under the hood, it is the factory 3.6. I do have the super chip with it though, so little extra power. And then inside I've got the Alpine 409 head unit, touchscreen with CarPlay. And I also have the Rough Country RC6 switch panel for lighting and accessories on that end. As far as the rest of the audio in the car, I've got all my speakers have been swapped out with JL Audio, so tweeters and speakers. And then I also have a JL Audio stealth box mounted up on the wheel well in the back for subwoofer. And yeah, I think that pretty much covers it on this thing.
So a couple things that I want to go over with him, just as some of you guys might have had experience with some of the parts that he previously had. I know you had your Jeep basically, or the suspension redone not too long back at Carnage.
Yeah.
But prior to that, you had the Rough Country lift that was on there for a couple of years.
Probably 3.5
You had it,
years.
so maybe 3.5 years that he had a Rough Country lift on there, and he really was unhappy with the ride, both on and off road, and so kind of, I guess, talk us through a little bit of how this kit compares. Would you recommend the Rough Country kit for the price, the cost of this kit, and stuff that you have done now? Is it something that you would say, hey, I would get the Rough Country if you're on a budget, or would it be more, no, like if I wouldn't recommend the Rough Country at all?
Yeah.
I would save up the extra. Again, I don't know the cost comparison, but based on what you remember from the Rough Country kit to this kit,
Yeah.
the cost difference and kind of what you would recommend to somebody that was looking to get a lift for their Jeep, and kind of just go over some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like he said, I had the Rough Country kit. I had it for about 3.5 years, and basically it was one of those things that I was pretty new into. Obviously, definitely new into the Jeeps, but also into suspension and all that stuff. I had gone to a local shop that overall, I mean, they do good work, but they don't try to oversell you. I went in and said I wanted a suspension lift, and they said, hey, we've got a Rough Country lift. It's a 4-inch kit, comes with shocks, springs, and a couple brackets to adjust some of the angles on steering components and whatnot. But basically, all in all, that kit cost me about $900, and that was for parts and install. If the reason for your lift is just for looks and you don't care how it rides, how it performs on and off road, then I'll say overall it's not a bad lift. Like I said, I ran it for 3.5 years. My biggest concerns or comments about it were the rough ride for sure. Also definitely got a little bit of bump steering and all that stuff. Just, was a cheaper kit. I don't remember off the top of my head what the TerraFlex kit cost me, but I'd say maybe $2,500 or so without the adjustable control arms. And I've noticed a night and day difference. I've taken it off road a couple times since I got this kit. It's a much smoother ride, no bump steer, no issues with death wobble or anything like that. So if it comes down to it, especially if your Jeep is a daily driver, I would definitely say to save up the money and go with the higher quality kit. Now you don't need, some $5,000 anything. You don't need coilovers, any of that. It's nice, but as long as it is a quality kit, it'll do the job. And I'm sure Rough Country probably has some better kits out there, but just from my experience, it was pretty rough.
It's Rough Country. Okay. And then I guess talk us through what's the build future look like for, what are some things that you want to do in the near future, moving forward, whether it's the next couple months, years, whatever. What's the end result for you for this Jeep? Or you said it's got 100,000 miles.
Yeah, it's got about 140,000 miles on it right now. The future of it, I mean, I definitely plan on keeping this thing pretty much forever. Engine takes a crap, I have to figure something out, whether it's just repair the engine or drop an LS or something in it, who knows. As far as the closer future, I definitely like to get 1-ton axles. Like I mentioned, I've got a locker in the front, but the rear is open. So I'd like to get Dana 60s and get lockers front and rear, just for that little more comfort when off-roading, that hey, I've got the extra strength and I've got the capabilities and all that. With those 60s would hopefully come the bead locks and potentially bigger tires. I'd also obviously like to get out to some more difficult trails. The ones that I've hit so far, the 37s, have been plenty. I did have 35s on it before, and that definitely struggled just with the clearance aspect. Especially when you air down, obviously you lose some ride height, but the 37s have been good so far. Outside of that, I mean, as far as the armor goes, I mean, I'm happy with everything that's on it right now. Potentially swap out the rear bumper just for aluminum, a little lighter, for that aspect. But outside of that, maybe clean up the interior a little bit, some new seats and whatnot, and harnesses and roll cage. That'd be nice, but like I said, all in time. So
Well, that sounds good. I appreciate your time. Thank you, sir, for coming out.
absolutely.
Thank you guys for checking out your boy's YouTube channel. If you made it this far, you're a real one, and I love you. No home, man, maybe. Depends on who you are. But again, if you're not already subscribed, be sure to subscribe. If you are subscribed, thank you for the support. And once you finish the video and you are subscribed, I'm talking to you now. So it's a win-win. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Yep. Fucking nail that shit, dude. Maybe.